Tillis. Senator Schiff.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Attorney General Bondi, at your confirmation hearing in January, made a clear commitment you would not politicize your position. We are here today at your first oversight hearing 9 months into your tenure, at a time when hundreds of career prosecutors have quit because they were required to take unethical actions at odds with that promise, or feared that they would have to take such actions if they remained on the job. When over 1,000 former federal prosecutors have sounded the alarm about the unprecedented degree to which the powers of DOJ are being abused to go after the president's enemies. I approach this hearing with a heavy heart. As a former federal prosecutor myself, I served in a department that, whether it was under a Democratic or Republican president, would never use the office to go after the president's enemies or to hide the corruption of his friends. But today, the Justice Department has been used to cover up the possible corruption of the mayor of New York or of a high-level administration official taking $50,000 reportedly in cash in a bag, or a child sex predator who befriended the president and some of his cabinet members. And instead of preventing partisan weaponization, your department has engaged in a brazenly political prosecution at the president's explicit direction. The department has become President Trump's personal sword and shield to go after his ever-growing list of political enemies and to protect himself, his allies, and associates. My questions therefore focus on these two themes: hiding the corrupt acts of his friends and prioritizing the political prosecution of his enemies. So let me start with the shocking allegations of bribery and pay to play. 2 weeks ago, 4 major media outlets reported that Tom Homan, the president's top deportation official working in the White House, took $50,000 in cash in a bag from undercover FBI agents in September 2024, just over a year ago. According to these reports, Homan indicated he would facilitate securing contracts in exchange for money once he was in office in a future Trump administration. Reportedly, this exchange was caught on tape. Rather than pursue this investigation without fear or favor, the department and the FBI under your leadership or that of your predecessor before you confirmed quietly shut it down. Once news broke, your deputy and FBI director issued a joint public statement confirming that the Trump administration closed the investigation. White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt denied Homan took the $50,000, telling a reporter, quote, "Mr. Homan never took the $50,000 that you're referring to, so you should get your facts straight." So today, I hope you can help us get our facts straight. Was that true, what the White House press secretary said when she denied Homan took the money? Did he take the money?
Senator Schiff, as I stated earlier, I was not in office. I was not confirmed when that was handled.
So does that
Deputy Attorney General Blanche and Director Patel said that there was no evidence that Tom Homan committed a crime. Yet now you're putting his picture up to slander him.
No, I'm putting his picture up,
You know,
showing an interview he gave with, I think, Fox, in which he was asked explicitly about these allegations that he took a $50,000 bribe, and he refused to answer. He said he didn't answer the question whether he took the money, so I'm asking you the question. Did he take the money?
Senator Schiff, I answered that question multiple times. And frankly, you know.
Well, I don't think, with respect, I don't think you did. But in case I just didn't hear you, what is the answer? Did he take the money?
Senator Schiff, that happened prior to my confirmation as Attorney General.
Do you know,
I said that.
Do you know, sitting here, whether he took the money?
All I know is that Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche and FBI Director Patel said there was no case. And Caroline Leavitt is one of the most trustworthy human beings I know.
So
and,
was she,
was
Senator
she,
Schiff, was she
if
right?
you worked for me, you would have been fired.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Okay, I really don't feel like litigating this again, but, you know, I get new viewers coming in and going out all the time, so that $50,000 didn't even exist. I'm going to go ahead and submit that to everybody. I'm going to go ahead and prognosticate that because, Yeah, there's absolutely no evidence that this $50,000 existed. There's no evidence Tom Homan took a non-existent $50,000. There's an audio recording, supposedly. I don't know how you can tell somebody took $50,000 on an audio recording unless you can hear somebody saying, "Here you go, Mr. Homan. Here's the $50,000 bribe." And Mr. Homan goes, "Thank you for this $50,000 bribe. I am going to take this now." And who talks like that? Nobody does. So it's nonsense. And once again, why was he not arrested? This happened, I do believe, mid-June 2024. Hang on just a second. That's under the Biden administration. So why was he not arrested then? Oh, the excuse is because he's going to facilitate contracts for immigration. Are you kidding me? An advisor facilitating contracts. Oh, they were going to wait and see if he actually doled out some of these contracts. Right. Once the new administration comes in. This all happened before the election, so nobody knew that Trump was even going to get elected. A lot of people didn't think Trump was going to get elected, so why would the FBI at the time think, oh, Trump's going to get elected? They know Trump's going to get elected. And they're going to wait for Tom Homan to go into office and facilitate contracts illegally for this $50,000. None of it makes any sense, folks. That's what I'm getting at here. But you guys do me that favor. Smash that like button for me. Subscribe if you're new around here. Share this video anywhere and everywhere you can. Click the join button. Sign up and become a member. That's the best way to help this channel expand and grow, y'all. But without any further ado, here's the rest of the story.
Because you were censured by Congress for lying with your
We can stipulate to, you can stipulate to all your personal attacks on the Democratic members of the committee.
Personal attacks? You've been attacking my FBI director. You've been attacking my office. You've been attacking.
What we're interested in.
Borders are.
What we're interested in is the answer to these oversight questions.
You want your
you were asked by my colleague. You were asked by my colleague.
Attacking good people.
Regular order, Madam Chair, so I can ask a question. You were asked by my colleague from Vermont whether you will support providing a video or audio tape, if it exists, of Mr. Homan taking $50,000 in bribe money from the FBI. Will you support a request by this committee to provide that tape or tapes to the committee? Yes or no?
Senator Schiff, you can talk to Director Patel about that.
Well, I'm talking to you about it. You're the Attorney General. This will be your decision. Will you support?
You don't have to tell me what is my decision and what is not my decision. I said you can talk to Director Patel.
You don't have to try to.
You think you've got a gotcha with Tom Homan, our borders are.
Excuse me.
Who's been out there fighting for our country since Donald Trump took office.
I'm trying to ask a question. Regular order, please. And you don't have to defer to the FBI director to pass the buck. So I'm asking you, will you support a request so that the committee, or indeed, I believe the American people should be able to see that video or audio tape? Will you support that request?
Will you apologize to Donald Trump for trying to impeach him?
I guess the answer is you won't support that request.
After you now know that Joe Biden tried to cover up Hunter Biden's involvement with Ukraine.
Excuse me. Let me do this, because I think it's valuable that the American people get a sense of what you've refused to answer today. So these are just some of the questions you refused to answer, or have answered with personal attacks on members of this committee. You were asked whether you consulted with career ethics lawyers, as you promised you would do during your nomination hearing, when you approved the president receiving a $400 million gift from the Qataris. You refused to answer that question. You were asked who or what role you may have played, or who played the role in asking that Trump's name be flagged in any of the Epstein documents gathered by the FBI. You refused to answer that question. You were asked whether Homan kept the $50,000 bribe money. You refused to answer that question. You were asked whether Homan paid taxes on the $50,000 bribe money. You refused to answer that question. You were asked, did career prosecutors find insufficient evidence to charge James Comey? You refused to answer that question. You were asked, how are military strikes on these boats in the Caribbean legal? And you refused to even answer that question.
You were asked, a law degree,
excuse me. You were asked, did you discuss indicting James Comey with the president? You refused to answer that question. You were asked, did you approve the firing of antitrust lawyers who disagreed with the Hewlett-Packard merger? You refused to answer that question. You were asked whether you support a restoration fund for violent insurrections to attack the Capitol on January 6th. You refused to answer that question. You were asked whether you were firing career professionals, career prosecutors, just because they worked on January 6th investigations. You refused to answer that question. You were asked by my California colleague whether you believe government officials, like immigration officials, have to abide by court orders. You wouldn't even answer that question. This is supposed to be an oversight hearing.
Oversight?
Excuse me, you can attack me after my time is over.
You've attacked all of us, including President Trump, for your entire
You can attack me later,
career.
and I know you've got plenty of canned attacks. We've heard them all day to day.
Canned attacks on you?
This is supposed to be...
No one needs a canned attack on you.
Regular order, Madam Chair. I'm trying to speak. This is supposed to be an oversight hearing of the Justice Department. And it comes in the wake of an indictment called for by the president of one of his enemies. This is supposed to be an oversight hearing, and it comes in the wake of revelations that a top administration official took $50,000 in a bag, and this department made that investigation go away. This is supposed to be an oversight hearing when dozens of prosecutors have been fired simply because they worked on cases investigating the former president. This is, and now
What
the current
about the
president.
fires in California?
And
Do you
this
care
is
about that,
supposed to
Senator
be,
Schiff?
this is supposed to be an oversight hearing in which members of Congress can get serious answers to serious questions about the
Are the
cover-up-
riots in
about the
LA
cover-up-
serious?
About the cover-up of corruption, about the prosecution of the president's enemies. And
I think you owe the president an apology
when will it be
your entire career,
that the
frankly.
members of this committee on a bipartisan basis demand answers to those questions and refuse to accept
Clearly you're a failed lawyer
refuse
because
to
you don't
accept,
understand when
excuse
someone
me,
can and cannot
refuse
answer
to
a
accept
question.
personal slander as an answer to those questions.
Personal slander.
With
Will
that,
you
Madam
apologize
Chair,
to Donald
I yield
Trump
back.
for slandering him? Personal slander.
Senator Brett.
May I ask unanimous consent, Madam Chair, to introduce into the record the statement of 1,000 former Justice Department officials who warned that the Comey indictment is a democracy-threatening abuse of power. May I also request unanimous consent for the introduction into the record of 282 former career officials at the Justice Department raising an alarm who were voluntarily or involuntarily forced to leave the department because of improper actions taken by the Department of Justice. May I introduce, with unanimous consent, the Justice Department manual that talks about when initiating and declining charges are subject to impermissible considerations. And finally, Madam Chair, may I introduce the letter from Michael Ben-Ari, a career counterterrorism prosecutor, DOJ, a letter he nailed to his door, which concludes by urging officials to do the right thing for the right reasons, to follow the facts and the law, and raises the alarm that the decision to remove experienced career officials from U.S. attorneys' offices, the FBI, and critical parts of DOJ undermines our country's abilities to counter terrorist organizations, malign nation-state actors, and countless others that seek to harm our nation and its citizens. And he believes that the priority is prosecuting the president's
arguing,
enemies
or are you admitting
rather than
Bondi,
protecting
Ms.
the
Bondi,
country.
one moment.
May I have unanimous
Are you
consent to
entering
enter these
that
into the record?
Without objection?
Thank you. I yield back.
Senator Brett.
Senator Moody, may I clarify one thing he entered in the record? I just want to say that I believe he entered a letter by 200 and something former employees. Well, I believe the spokesperson for that letter was also the spokesperson for Jack Smith.
Senator.
You know, I really hope that Adam Schiff has a damn good lawyer. I really do, because those mortgage fraud charges are quite serious, if you ask me, and I do believe he deserves to be booted from the Senate and disbarred, or, disallowed, if you will, to run for any public office ever again, because this dude has lied so much to the American people, to everybody. He propagated the Russian collusion hoax. He was tied up with the January 6th committee, which we know for a fact they withheld exculpatory evidence to keep people from being exonerated, for crying out loud, from charges that we know that these people absolutely did not commit. There were so many peaceful protesters during January 6th, and that committee is responsible for a lot of those people going to jail because they withheld that evidence, folks. It's a really sad state of affairs that Democrats have to lie through their freaking teeth just about everything. Like going through all those questions. She did answer some of those questions. She absolutely answered some of those questions. The senators did not like some of the answers to those questions, but she answered some of them. Some of the questions, no, she didn't answer because they're fake news questions. They're just not real. Like the $50,000, right? That whole nonsense with Tom Homan. I've debunked that I don't know how many times at this point because that's the same thing that every single senator keeps on bringing up, right? And then you talk about the 747 from Qatar or Qatar, however you want to pronounce it. I'll pronounce it both ways. It doesn't matter, right? That jet was a gift to the Department of War. It wasn't a gift to Donald Trump. They're going to give it to the presidential library, so it's not even going to be used for Donald Trump. So I don't know where the blood clot is. Plus, that question was just, did you consult with General Counsel, the Ethics Council on this? Of course she did. Of course they approved it. Of course it's okay because it's not a gift from the prime minister, the president, or king, or whatever the hell Qatar has. I think they have a king. I guess that's what it is. The king of Qatar to Donald Trump. That's not what it was. It was a gift from their Department of Defense to our Department of War, as a matter of fact. So most of those questions were nonsensical questions. They don't make any sense, right? Because that's why they're called nonsensical, as a matter of fact. Like firing all these people. The administration absolutely has the right to fire people. And anybody tied to any of those January 6 prosecutions, especially the malicious prosecutions, they should absolutely be fired. That's why Kash Patel fired many people. A lot of the FBI agents that were tied to a lot of those prosecutions, those people deserve to be fired. The agents that were tied to going and raiding Mark Houck, those people should be fired, knowing that this guy did nothing wrong, absolutely nothing wrong, knowing that this guy was defending his son, knowing that the local DA said there's nothing here, we're not going to charge this guy. But they went and raided this guy's house, arrested him, and drug him through court. All because of justice. Is it justice, though, when the man you're dragging through the court didn't commit a crime? Absolutely. Right? Like, the guy was threatening his son, and he pushes him away. Right? In not a very violent manner, just pushes him back. Says, back up. They got into a shoving match. The dude pushed Mark Houck back. And then Mark Houck pushed him away for good. That was it. It was 3 pushes. And this guy really is going to be drugged through federal court for that? Are you kidding me? Then they brought up some protesting in front of abortion clinic BS. I forget the exact charge of what it was, but it was nonsense. It's absolute nonsense, folks. It's ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. Adam Schiff has been one of the biggest purveyors of lies and manipulation on the American people. This dude has been censured from Congress for lying specifically. For lying to the American people. Like, how can this guy even live with himself? I don't know. I don't understand the mindset of people in California that can still vote for this dude, knowing that he lied through his freaking teeth on a daily basis over and over and over again. I do not know how this man can get up there and start running his mouth in the manner that he does to Pam Bondi about knowing these things are nonsense. Knowing that this whole Tom Homan stuff is all allegations, right? And I love that question that guy posed to me, and it's something I didn't think about. He's like, well, why doesn't Tom Homan sue for defamation? Well, you know, for one, it's anonymous sources. We have no idea who these people are. But for two, it's because it's alleged. You can allege anything against anybody, and they can't sue you for that. When you say, oh, well, there's reports, I think he may have done this. You can say that about anybody. They cannot sue you for any reason, or not for defamation at least. They can probably find something to sue you for, but Can't sue you for defamation for making an allegation, right? As long as you say it's alleged. That's all you got to do. That's why the corporate press, they constantly use that term. Oh, this alleged tape, he allegedly took $50,000 in a bribe, blah, 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 blah. That's what they do. These people know how to phrase their sentences to make sure that the courts do not come after them for defamation or for lying or for anything like that. This is why we have to do language math to deduct what they are actually saying and kind of read between the lines here to figure out, hang on, that what they're saying on its face is not what actually happened. And they're saying it in such a way that, yeah, they're manipulating things a lot here, but it's kind of truthful, right? But it's manipulative because it makes you think something totally different. It's fascinating, but I think I've rambled on for long enough. I want y'all to let me know what y'all think about this interaction down in the comments section. I love it myself. I don't know, so watching Democrats open their mouth and insert their foot on a constant basis is enjoyable to me for some reason. It is what it is. But y'all let me know what y'all think. Y'all don't forget to smash that like button for me. Subscribe if you're new around here. Share this video anywhere and everywhere that you can. And click that join button, y'all. Sign up and become a member. That's the best way to help this channel expand and grow. But without any further ado, it's the end of the video. I want y'all to remember something, that God has a plan for everybody. You may not know what that plan is, but it's there. And he loves each and every one of you out there. So y'all try to have a good day and stay legitical. Peace.